Buenas noches, gente. Hoy día es este 22 de julio 2021. En eso es jueves, ¿no? Mira, en la noche tenemos este juego de la mesa Raid on Iran. En eso es mi reseña en español. No, mentira. I'm joking. I just wanted to see if y'all thought y'all got the wrong channel or not. So, yeah, that's it. Well, tonight we want, as I said, today's the 22nd of July 2021, and this is Raid on Iran, and this is my review here. I'm going to give a little review of it. You know, I've played this game several times now, and I played this game some years ago, and I don't know. Back then, I didn't think the game was maybe, I don't know. I don't remember it clicking with me or something. I remember I liked the idea, but I guess I liked other games better than this. Because I like Steve Jackson games, but I don't ever, but as I replayed this pretty much all week, I have found that I have a special like for this game. This game kind of blew me away. Now, it's nothing in depth. It's very easy, very simple, but something about it just clicked with me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. I don't know. But the whole idea was, you know, it's the raid on it. It was the failed Delta Force raid that took place to relieve or to rescue the hostages, what had become a hostage situation in Tehran there in 1980, late 79, early 80. And so that's what you're doing. We've got one player playing the Iranians, hostage takers, and then the other one playing the Americans, obviously. So the game's, I guess we would call it a proto area movement, area impulse game, because it doesn't have the full area movement or impulses, but it does feel like that a lot. I mean, you're just not, it kind of feels like that. It's kind of neat in that way, which, so let's talk about it. The map, you're going to have area movement. The movement is pretty cool, man, because you're only moving. There are exceptions, as with everything, as with language, always exceptions. But it's basically one area. You move one area per counter. You have the opportunity to, okay, what happens is they set up, right? That's going to be the counters for the Iranians, right? The op four counters, if you will, and they're going to set up, and there's going to be some rules to it. You're going to have to put some hostages here and some here, a certain amount, but then you can also put hostages other places, wherever you want, right? And as long as in buildings, and have people guarding them. And then you're going to have sentinels on the roads. These represent roads. The green, you got this, the spotted green representing woods, lawn, the blue representing the buildings. All right. So they did say that the map, they try to be accurate with the map, other than the buildings they made bigger than normal, because most of the action took place in buildings, which I understand. That's fine. So it's not exactly to scale. Understandable. So you're gonna have gates. You're gonna put some. You're gonna be called for to put some sentinels at the main gate and the back gate, and they're all gonna be turned over. right? When they set up, no one, the U.S. player is not going to know where the hostages are, other than they played the game before, they read the rules, they know someone's going to be here, and there's going to be two of the main spots. But you're going to have other hostages other places if the Iranian player is smart. And you're going to have they're going to have dummy counters. They're going to be able to put dummy counters too. So so they're all going to be deactivated, right? They're all going to be. This idea is going to be the early morning hours, so they're all asleep. And the American forces are going to come in, and you can come in at different places. You're going to have 10 satchel charges, which you're going to use satchel charges to breach the walls. This is going to represent a wall. So first turn, you're just going to breach walls wherever you want. And depending on those, and you come in with, I forgot how many forces. You come in with forces, but you also come in with a couple of mortars, right? So, well, that's another Iranian. But so that's going to be your counters. You're going to come in. That's going to represent 2. They all have different numbers of representing how many is there. What is that one? I can't read it. Let's read it. I don't know what that is. Let me take it up from behind the camera and see if it'll focus. Anyway, it's an op4 counter of some sort. So, but they're going to have, it's going to be five Iranians there, right? And so you're going to have different groups, right? You can come in all at one place if you want. I know when I played at one of them, the guy had a stack here. So I used here at the back gate. Sorry, it's off camera. Right, I stack here at the back gate, and I used 5 satchel charges because it was a huge stack, and it killed everybody. And why would you use 5? 1 breaches, but I knew he had a stack there, and it killed everybody there. So I was free to come in through the back way, and also had some other ones happening. But so once a sentinel wakes up, the other sentinels are going to wake up, but the people in the buildings are still going to be asleep, right? They're going to have to be activated. So Americans need to come in and get out as quickly as possible, because on the 10th turn, after the 10th turn, with that guess starting on the 11th, Iranians are going to start getting reinforcements, or the opportunity to reinforcements. And there's your Iranian reinforcement table, right? You roll 2 dice. Look, you can get up to, you get 2 mobs in any street area. Look at that. 1 mob, there was a mob. That's what that was, counter that I just put up, right? So you can roll a 2, 15 men in any street area. So a lot of this is going to happen. You're going to start getting reinforcements, and stuff's going to start happening, and the Americans need to get out with the hostages. Americans are pretty strong here. You got a couple things you can do. You can move. You can fire into an adjacent area, which, if you remember something like Storm over Arnhem, that's similar. But when you move into this area, you can, if you move in an area that has forces, you're going to have time for opposing forces there. You're going to do some melee combat, right? And the melee combat, I've always liked firing into it. I don't know, it just seems safe to me for some reason. Safer. That's not necessarily the case, but you start getting in here where there's going to be hostages, or over here, wherever the hostages are, and you can get bogged down with a stack of guys, and you start in that melee combat, and you start bogging down, they start having sentinels coming there. It can be a little scary. But starting on the 11th turn, they start getting reinforcements, so you're trying to get in and out as fast as possible. The helicopters, you can bring helicopters in, and helicopters can land any of these lawns. Look, anytime where it says there's a helicopter symbol, you can land a helicopter to get the guys out. So it takes some planning. You can do it in 2 ways. At the start of the game, the American player can write down what turn he would like or say what turn he would like the helicopters to come in on, or he can call for them once he gets into the complex. That's how I was playing it, because I hadn't played it enough to get really good at knowing when I was. Now I think I've played it enough to where I think I know what turn I need on, how many moves I can make. But if you call for it once in your complex, it takes 5 turns for it to get there. So it's going to take some planning. I like that part of it, that thinking ahead, that planning part of it, right? It's kind of a neat thing. Of course, the Iranians are defending, so they have a few little advantages there. Although I do think the Americans do it right, then they can come in the right amount of numbers and catch the forces. They can be overwhelming at times. So that's all you're trying to do, and it's a fast-playing game. There's a couple of scenarios. The first scenario, the main scenario, and the best scenario, in my opinion, is not solitaire friendly. Again, there's going to be hidden information. The Iranians are going to, you don't know, you put guys over here, you don't know if that's a dummy counter, you don't know. Like I said, you know there's going to be some hostages here, but then you don't know if the other one's here. The idea is to get them all out. And I'll tell you, that's something else I liked about it. When you start losing troops, you start losing some to injury, right? I forgot exactly how the rules go. If you lose 2, 1 killed, 1 injured. But you're actually making more hostage counters, because you've got to get all your people and the dead out of there, all your guys out of there that you can. So those will turn into hostages. Hostages can start being killed. You're trying to get as many people out as you can, and that can happen when you run in and you start getting bogged down in these firefights, melee combat. It can affect the hostages, so hostages can start getting killed as well. So that's kind of cool. There is a scenario, and let's see here. I like the CRT. I've seen some people complain about the CRT. I thought the CRT was, for the range combat and the melee combat, was pretty good. CRT, I didn't have a problem with it. I absolutely had no problem with the modifiers. I thought the modifiers was really well. The Iranian player, if the Iranian player is a tiger, subtract 2 from his die roll, right? If the defenders are in the woods, building a roof area, subtract 2 from the die roll. Those are all accumulative as well. So those are pretty cool. I like the modifiers. There's a couple of scenarios. The main scenario, and the best in my opinion, is made for 1 player, or made for 2 players, obviously, because of the hidden movement. But the sauce for the goose scenario, which is an alternative scenario where you're trying to go in and kidnap the Ayatollah and the Ayatollah Khomeini and get out with him, as this is going to be, what compound are we talking about here? What holy city compound would this be? That's the art for that. That is very sauce for the goose. It's possibly occasionally discussed, though not by government spokesmen. Absolutely not. Was the idea that the American commandos might have attempted to kidnap the Ayatollah Khomeini himself in order to change him from the hostages, exchange him for the hostages. Highly unlikely, of course. Abduction of a foreign leader, no matter what the proclamation would endanger America's, would damage America's image greatly. Yeah, because this was still written in 1980. If any Iranians were killed defending him, they would be seen as martyrs. Absolutely, they would have been. And if we had taken the Ayatollah, then they might not have been anyone left in Iran with the authority to make a trade. Even so, there's a certain poetic justice, and absolutely, that's pretty cool, right? But instead of being the map, right? The map represents the game area in the holy city of, what is that? comb, where the Ayatollah usually stays, right? So that's what you're doing, and it's very solitaire friendly, very much more solitaire friendly than the first. The first scenario is really good though, really great, really fun, a fun two-person scenario. I would say it slightly favors the Americans, which it should, but when you start running around, you start hiding people, and they start running around. It takes planning. There's a certain amount of planning to this game that I really didn't think there would be, but there really is. And I don't know why I didn't think there would be. I think that Ogre has a certain amount of planning to it that's kind of neat as well. Spatial movement, you know. So, but yeah, I would give it a good 6.5 out of a 10. And that's a really good score for a game of this type. And I would suggest, if you can buy this, $20, man, you get it in this cool box. Components are really good. Like I said, we got die cut counters now, right? You don't have to cut the counters or the old Steve Jackson ones, right? Decent counters. They're nothing. I mean, the artwork's about the same as they were in 80. They're nothing great, but they are die cut. And so easily punched. They're not even like a lot of the decision game stuff is difficult to punch. But these are easily punched. These are almost falling out of the sprue. The map, it's a paper map, glossy paper map. It lays well. Very neat, very well done. Your dies, you've got Steve Jackson dies. You see, that's the one. There you go, right there. The Illuminati die. You know, that's kind of Steve Jackson's thing with the game, the Illuminati, and you know him being such a libertarian. So all that's kind of cool. But simple rules, simple everything. This wasn't meant to be an in-depth review. This is just something quick I was wanting to talk about and say, hey, this is worth getting. You should get it if you can. If you don't have it, if you have someone you want to get them into wargaming, this might be the game. So simple. Such a good value. I would recommend it. Like I said, I'd give it about a 6 out of 5 out of 10. It's something that you would play that has replayability. You're probably going to get, man, I've probably got 5 plays out of it in the last week. And yeah, I could probably get a few more. It's a neat game. Highly recommended. If you want a simple game and you want to look at what we were doing back in the 80s as far as the kind of pocket games we were playing, it's good. So that's it. That's all I got for you. Everybody be good. Stay safe. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.